With Arie Force One and Wildcat's Revenge now opened, we've got to be wondering where's the next RMC going to open at. And to start off the list of 10 parks that I predict could open a new RMC as their next coaster, let's go over the parks that I think have a slight chance for their next coaster coming from RMC. First up is Holiday World. And I really feel like a small family RMC hybrid coaster would do really great for this park. Something not too intense, but definitely more intense than your average family coaster. I am really curious to see what RMC plans to do with this model since we've yet to see one get announced as of now. But I really do feel like the future is bright for this concept, and a lot of parks will be taking advantage of the smaller price tag for this action-packed family coaster. And with this next park, you have to remember that these are the parks that I feel as if have a very slight chance of adding an RMC coaster for their next one. With that being said, what about Lake Compounce, which is located in Bristol, Connecticut? This park has not built a new roller coaster since Phobia opened in 2016. So this medium-sized park is definitely due for a new coaster over the next few years. And with all the work that they're doing on Boulder Dash and Wildcat, I really feel like a brand new single rail coaster coming to the park makes the most sense. Especially because Six Flags New England, which is located 45 minutes away, currently does not offer a single rail coaster. So this means that Lake Compounce could be the first park in New England to open a launch coaster when they open Phobia, and now they have an opportunity to open New England's first single rail coaster. 2 gut checks right to New England, and I absolutely love it because Lake Compounce is a great park. So I personally feel like this makes a ton of sense, and I really hope that Lake Compounce is considering this. Now with this next park, which has not built a new roller coaster since 2006, they're obviously due for a new coaster, and they currently offer 4 wooden coasters that all could get the RMC conversion treatment. So let's talk about Mount Olympus, which is located in the Wisconsin Dells. Now there's plenty of options here because you have Hades 360, Zeus, Pegasus, and Cyclops. So really, any of these coasters could get converted to become a hybrid coaster. But if I was a betting man, I really do not feel as if converting Hades 360, as much as I would love that, to a hybrid coaster, I already feel like that ride is the staple for the park and brings in the most marketing power. So I think they'll keep it the way it is, but maybe decide to RMC Zeus, Pegasus, or possibly Cyclops. By doing this, the park will offer 2 major coasters that are basically both top tier. But right now, I'm leaning towards Cyclops. I really enjoy this coaster, and I would really love to see a mid-sized RMC conversion for this, adding around 20 feet to the lift hill, throwing in 1 or 2 inversions, but still keeping that iconic drop in the back row because it's so good, and you have to love the terrain that Cyclops sits on. But really, this was a very tough decision because any of these wooden coasters could definitely benefit from RMC. Heading over to Adventureland in Iowa, because I predict that there's a very slight chance that we could see their CCI Outlaw get converted. Now this wooden coaster opened in 1993, and while I gotta admit it's not that bad, it's actually pretty enjoyable the way it is. It offers a height of 67 feet and speeds of 48 miles an hour with a track length of 2,800 feet long. But what I'm most intrigued about this idea is the layout for Outlaw could be something special that RMC would create. And while Adventureland already offers Tornado, another good out and back style wooden coaster, I just feel like Outlaw would be the coaster that Adventureland would decide to RMC if they were going to do this. Again, I'm going to give it a slight chance, but I love this idea. I really feel like each of those parks could really benefit from a brand new RMC, but sadly, again, I do not think there's a great chance of that happening. Now stay tuned because later in the video, I'm going to share with you a very bold prediction about the potential landing spot for the world's first T-Rex that's going to shock everyone watching this. So you do not want to miss out on that. Now it's time for the parks that have a good chance of adding RMC next to their coaster lineup. And first up will be SeaWorld San Antonio, and I'm going to predict possibly a T-Rex. And the reason why is Fiesta Texas already offers an RMC hybrid with Iron Rattler and Wonder Woman, the world's first single rail coaster. So I really don't feel like the park adding one of those makes a ton of sense. But SeaWorld San Antonio could greatly benefit from adding an RMC T-Rex. Now, there's a slight chance that this could become the world's first one, but I really don't feel as if it would be, but who knows? With that being said, the park has the room, and it's clear that the SeaWorld parks are all about adding some world-class major coasters to their parks, so really, I don't think budget matters for this type of project as long as it's under $25 million. But we have to remember that everything is bigger in Texas, so this type of ride could bring great marketing power to SeaWorld San Antonio and really give this park a standout coaster that would not only be the best in the park, but the best in the entire state of Texas. The next park on my list is Kentucky Kingdom, and now that Herschend manages the park, I really don't know if this is really going to happen or not, but I cannot talk about Kentucky Kingdom and not bring up the fact that they almost got an RMC single rail coaster that went to Silverwood that was going to be located near Thunder Run and Storm Chaser. I really love the fit of a single rail coaster at Kentucky Kingdom. I think it makes sense financially as well as capacity and brings the park yet another intense roller coaster that guests will not find anywhere nearby that region of America. Heading west on I-64 to Six Flags St. Louis, because it's honestly time for Boss to get the RMC treatment. And we know that Six Flags knows this, and while I do not think it will be 2024 when this happens, I really feel like this is the best move that Six Flags can do for their St. Louis property. Six Flags has an opportunity at building a top 10 worthy coaster at Six Flags St. Louis to really generate more attendance for the park as well as buzz in that region of America. And with a layout like Boss, this really needs to happen. Staying in the Six Flags chain for Six Flags New England. And just like Lake Compounce, I really feel like a RMC single rail coaster makes the most sense. Now obviously both parks are not going to be building single rail coasters as their next one. It basically comes down to which park would build it first. And mainly due to marketing power, because anytime one of these parks opens a new attraction, they typically say it's New England's first or New England's largest, so a single rail coaster that's in the Goliath plot of land really does make a lot of sense. But the main question is, will Six Flags actually do this? Because I really feel like a launch coaster makes the most sense for New England as their next one. But again, what do I know? I'm just some crazy guy from Ohio. Now this next prediction might rub some of you the wrong way, but I gotta say it because I really feel like there is a good chance, not a great chance, that American Eagle at Six Flags Great America could get converted into an RMC hybrid coaster. And you're probably thinking that this will never happen because Goliath is right next to this, but that's a wooden coaster from RMC, not a hybrid. And while both of these rides would offer a pretty similar ride experience, when you look at larger parks like Great America, it honestly doesn't really matter. Because remember, it wasn't too long ago when this park offered 3 separate inverted coasters. You had Batman, Vertical Velocity, and Deja Vu, all coasters hanging below the track. Not to mention, this park also offered 2 aero coasters that featured inversions, the same trains, the same similar layouts. So again, I really do not feel as if that this really matters, and American Eagle definitely needs some love, and something's gonna happen to this coaster relatively soon, I predict. Now it's very important that you do not ride a RMC coaster this summer without getting some new coaster gear to wear in the parks. So be sure to check out my collections of affordable and comfortable coaster merch. And you can find a link for my coaster gear store in the description of this video. Now for the parks that I think have a great chance to open a brand new RMC as their next coaster. Fun Spot Orlando. And I predict that they will open up the world's largest RMC single rail coaster in the coming years. We already know that Fun Spot loves working with RMC because Arie Force One at Fun Spot Atlanta really is a grand slam for the company and the park. And then down in Kissimmee, Mindblower's getting retracked partially with all new track from RMC. So I think it's a very safe bet that there is a great chance that Fun Spot Orlando will be building an RMC coaster next. And when they do, something that I would love to see happen would be if the ride would offer a 90-degree twisted first drop. I really feel like doing that on a single roller coaster would be legit awesome. And since this park is pretty landlocked, having a coaster that offers a 90-degree twisted first drop would greatly reduce the footprint of the overall coaster. And the last park that I want to talk about before I share with you my bold prediction is Busch Gardens Williamsburg, because I predict that in 2025 they're going to be building a brand new ground up RMC hybrid coaster located behind Verbolten and the old Dragon Flyer plot of land. With the success of Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa, it's clear that SeaWorld understands this, and I'm sure they want to duplicate this at their Virginia park. And honestly, it makes a ton of sense because they could easily market it as the largest hybrid coaster along the East Coast. And since King's Dominion's located around an hour away, a coaster that is much taller, longer, and faster than Twisted Timbers is definitely a good decision for Busch Gardens Williamsburg. But my only question with this would be, would RMC and the SeaWorld parks want to create a ride that would be better than Iron Gwazi? Seriously, because Iron Gwazi is my personal #1 coaster that I've ever been on, and I think the layout is pretty much flawless. And now it's time for my bold prediction, and that is, what if we see the world's first RMC T-Rex open at Fiesta Texas? Now, after all, this was the park that opened the world's first single rail coaster, and the T-Rex and single rail are definitely two different types of rides. And Fiesta's always been more of a testing ground for Six Flags, and with Cliffhanger opening in 2022 and all the buzz around the T-Rex coaster from RMC over the last few months, the time frame is aligning for this to possibly happen. And here's why it makes sense. Fiesta could definitely benefit from a roller coaster that features large airtime hills as well as big drops. And I do not think they were able to build a hypercoaster due to height restrictions. However, a RMC T-Rex around 170, maybe 180 that towers over the park would do great things for Fiesta as well as the Six Flags chain in general. It's funny because everyone thinks that Cedar Point will be the first park to open up a T-Rex. And while I gotta admit, I really do feel like there is a slight chance for that to happen, I really feel like it would shock everyone if Fiesta Texas would build the world's first one. And after all, Fiesta Texas is by far the best overall Six Flags park. And adding a T-Rex might make the park offer the best overall coaster collection in the entire chain. What do you guys think? What park out there do you feel as if could add an RMC coaster for their next one? Whether it's here in North America or anywhere in the world, please share with me your predictions and your ideas because I love thinking about it and reading them. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.